Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 219 of the Nope Coach podcast. Look how far you've come. I'm your host, Suzanne Culberg. So, when we are in a slump, when we're not feeling it, when we're like, oh, everything feels too hard, one of the easiest ways I find to gather momentum to be able to take that very next step is to pause and look how far I've come. Because there is always going to be a gap between where we are now and where we want to be. Even if we've achieved a goal, there will be another goal. Like self-development, personal development is like a lifelong journey. It's a mountain with no peak. And often we can disregard how far we've already come. And when I say, look how far you've come, I don't mean toxic positivity, success porn, any of that sort of bullshit. I mean a real honest look at the version of you now, the things that you are doing today that you 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, wouldn't have even dreamed of. So my son Casimir, he's been on the show. He's got 2 of his own episodes and 1 episode he appeared in, the Halloween special. He has struggled a lot with reading and writing. He has a lot of learning and developmental delays, and we've been working through it. And very recently, he was having a down moment about his reading and comparing himself to other children in his class and other children his age. And I had to pause him. And what we did was we got out his books from the beginning of the year and from last year. And we were sitting down, look how far he has come. And it's amazing how he wants to tear up or rip out or destroy, his earlier work, his earlier writing. I'm like, no, we keep this because we're not in competition with anyone, not even ourselves, but we keep this as a journey, as a representation of how far you've come. You may not yet be where you want to be, but when you are where you want to be, you'll want to be somewhere else. There's a book, it's called The Gap and the Gain. I think it's by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. But if you look The Gap and the Gain, you'll find it. It's also available on Audible. It's not a very long read and or listen. But basically, they talk about measuring back instead of measuring forward. So the gap is between where you are now and where you want to be. And the gain is the look how far you've come, where you are now versus where you were. And when we measure backwards, when we measure the gain, when we look how far we've come, it's the fastest way to propel us, to give us momentum, to keep us going forward, as opposed to looking at the gap. And they give an example, and I can't remember who it was, that's in the book, and they spoke about a Olympic speed skater. I'm pretty sure the story was of a speed skater, and he did 2 events, like the 100 and 200 meters, or however the distance was. And he'd competed this was his 4th Winter Olympics, and he'd never got a gold medal. And he'd been very gap focused. I've been to all these Olympics, I've never got a gold, all this sort of thing. And when he worked with these people and they were like, look at your gain, you're one of the very few Olympians to have been to 4 Olympics. You've been at the top of your sport for 16 years or more to even be able to qualify to attend this. Look at all of these gains. And from there, he went on to win gold in what even wasn't his primary event. So I really encourage you, whatever it is, look how far you've come. If you're having a struggling parenting moment, I had one of those very recently, and I was like, look, my kids are now 8 and 10. They're mostly self-sufficient, can feed themselves, can shower themselves, can wipe their own butts. Look how far we've come. Aren't waking me up in the middle of the night because their sock fell off or because they've had a bad dream. That has been a long time coming. In business, when this morning I was like, oh, I haven't recorded today's podcast. Yeah, look how far I've come. I've done 218 daily episodes. Whether or not this episode got out, and I'm so grateful now that I have hit record and, finding my rhythm, but this, missing one day doesn't take away from the 218 days I've done. Where in your life, no matter what's happening or what's going on, how can you look at the gain, look how far you've come? And the reason I really, really encourage this, and this is something that I talk about and teach a lot in my program, Why Wait, when we celebrate, acknowledge how far we've come, look at, the small stuff and realize all along it was the big stuff. It's like playing a game of hot and cold with the universe. When you were little, do you remember the game hot and cold? Like you'd hide something from a friend and then they'd have to search for it. And as they were searching, if they got closer, you'd be going warmer, warmer. And if they got further away, colder, colder. They got closer again, warmer, warmer, hot, hot, hot when they were really close, further away, colder, colder, freezing, freezing, freezing when they were really far. When you look how far you've come and you let go of the perfectionistic lens and the archetype of, all or nothing and extremism and play this game, it's literally a game of hot and cold with the universe. I started, say you're in entrepreneurship. I created a social media page, warmer. I put some posts on it, warmer. I interviewed on a couple of podcasts, warmer. I had somebody reach out and ask, oh, can you tell me more about working with you? Warmer. As opposed to, I haven't had any clients yet, colder. Nobody wants to work with me, colder. Nobody cares about my shit, freezing, Quitsville. The celebration doesn't have to be the success porn of I've had a 10K day or I've sold all this or whatever. The celebration is you consistently showing up for yourself. Whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's well-being, whether it's finding your partner, whatever it is that you're working towards, don't measure yourself just on the final outcome alone, but every step you've taken along the way. And look how this version of you today is so much further along than you were 6 months ago, a year ago. And if you keep going on that trajectory, because where you are at any one moment in time is never as important as the trajectory that you're on. And by you continuing to take the baby steps and show up for yourself, what is the trajectory that you're on? And looking how far you've come is the fastest, easiest, most pleasant way to get back in the game, playing that warmer, warmer, warmer with the universe, rather than, still haven't done this. Everything's hard. And then you just, dig yourself a deeper and deeper trench and make it more difficult to get started. So coming up in Suzanne, in my world, the next cohort of Why Wait begins on the 2nd of January. You might be listening to this going, oh, that's nearly a month away. That time will pass like that. We've got Christmas, we've got holidays, we've got end of year celebrations. So if you're like, actually, I'm done waiting for one day. I'm done putting myself last. I'm done telling myself I'll start again next week, tomorrow, or Monday, the universal day to change your life. There's 2 reasons the program starts on January 2nd, but the biggest one is we all start Monday or we all start the 1st of January. And for 2024, they are both on the same day. So deliberately giving us one day forward. So we start on Tuesday, the 2nd of January. When you sign up, if you sign up today, you get access to the welcome module and the bonus vault. So you can start working through that now. You don't have to wait for Why Wait. You don't have to psych yourself up. And I encourage you to sign up early because we all have that kind of, or maybe it's just me. You psych yourself up for something and you finally sign up, you hit purchase, you hit buy, and then you're like, and you have that kind of like slump feeling. Let's get that out of the way now so that when the 2nd of January rolls around, you're ready to hit this ground running. If you feel keen and you want to make a start, dive into the welcome module, dive into the bonus vault, start taking the baby steps today so that when the 2nd of January comes, it's like, oh yeah, I'm already in the momentum. Or if you're like, actually, I don't want to do shit in 2023. I just want to, finish the year how it is and start in 2024. You do you. At least you've signed up, you're ready to go. Emails will come and then you're ready to start taking action. Because healing truly happens in community. And when we stop telling ourselves that we're going to do it exactly right and put so much pressure on ourselves and start scrolling and looking for the success porn and wanting to be the 1% and realizing that, mediocre, average, looking how far I've come, celebrating the small steps is what becomes the big steps over time. That's when the amazing success happens. So I'd love for you to join me. Why wait? January 2nd. Go to my website, suzanneculberg.com. It has all the details there. And if you're not sure and you want to chat to me about it, you can scroll down, you can book a call there and it's obligation free and we'll have a chat. We'll spend about an hour together looking at where you are now, where you want to go and whether Why Wait is the right fit for you. I'd love to have a chat. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one. Bye for now.